Kettlebells Up Studio. I'm Lacey and welcome to your 20-minute strength session of the day. We have a little bit of a different setup for the beginning of class today. We're doing the movements we're going to do in class as our warm-ups. You have 4 rounds of 5 intervals, 2 of those intervals being different sides of the same thing. So I'm just gonna go into what you're gonna get up to so you can get your weights out if you're thinking about it. You can also always hit pause and check the description section for what we're going to be doing today so you'll know what to bring. So the first thing you're doing is a standing windmill or a half kneeling windmill. You can take these body weight the first round or use a light to moderate weight for that first round only. You'll then go up to something more moderate. If you are using a weight, you can definitely continue these body weight. We're working on getting rotation in these today. So this is a big rotation and I would say glute, hammy, hinge type of class. Your second movement, our B stance deadlift. So that's a very close in stagger stance, working on more of a stiff leg. So not a lot of knee bend there, and holding onto the bell on the opposite side of the front leg. So we can just move the leg that is supporting out a little bit to make some movement or to make some room for that kettlebell. You can also use a dumbbell for this. And if you really want to take the weight up and make it a little bit heavy, you can do double suitcase hold today. I'm going to show you the single, but you can always take that double. So your second and third intervals are, your third and fourth intervals of those B stance deadlifts, both sides. Then we have some quadruped passes. The first round, I'm going to show you just how to do some reaches, and then we'll do the quadruped passes together for the 3 consecutive rounds. That being said, you can always use this warm-up set to do all the movements as is, just a little bit lighter than you would do if you were going into your regular interval set. So 20 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So go ahead, get your equipment out. I want you to come down to the floor. We have a little visitor here. I don't know how long she's gonna last here. Or into a standing position for your windmills. So I'm gonna come down, bring one leg forward. We're taking all of these movements, 40 seconds on, 20 seconds break as we go through them. So you wanna make sure you're really, there we go, I knew it wouldn't last. You wanna make sure as you're doing these, you really think of trapping your hip. I'm actually gonna do it by the wall so you can see a visual of that as we go into it. So let's go ahead and get started here. First side, we'll go 3, 2, and 1. So no matter if you're standing or you are half kneel like me, you're going to think of your hip on the bell side moving back. So I'm against the wall here, and if I was to move my hip anywhere but back, like if it was going to the side, I would actually hit the wall. So there's a difference here between how the hinge feels in your Turkish getup and how moving your hip back feels in the windmill. So you're getting a lot of control through your core with this. Also, the more challenging part of the windmill is keeping your arms straight. So as you're rotating your body, your arm position doesn't change, and that can be challenging sometimes. So we want to move it out here. You've got to look at your hand and make sure that you are keeping that arm straight with your knuckles up the entire time you're here for 3, 2, and 1. So this is your first break. We're going to go into your second side. Remember, this one can be body weight. You can also do body weight from that standing position. You only get 20 seconds rest as we move through everything, because remember, this class is only 20 minutes long. Let's go 3, 2, and 1. So I like to think of this body weight windmill as turning my belly button towards my front leg and not changing anything about that front leg. So my hip's not moving, my shin's not moving. I'm just rotating my belly button, pushing that foot down, and then bringing my hand to my instep. You can even do these with body weight without having the arm up. So if it helps you to think of, I'm just gonna touch my hip gently here and then come down, I'm gonna look to see where my hand is, then bring that other hand up. This is a great way to practice finding your positioning in space without having to look down. We're working proprioception here, where our body is in space. Very important that you feel comfortable in this before you have a weight over your head doing these windmills. You're going to be on this side for another 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead, come up to your feet, and we're gonna start practice for that B stance. I'm actually gonna take this first set as a good morning with my feet in the B stance just to warm the hamstrings up a little bit. So gonna move my foot slightly out to the side with my toes about in line with my front heel. From here, I'm going to think of sending my hips back, no matter if I'm holding the bell here like a good morning or doing this body weight or the bell in the opposite side of the front foot. So make sure you're joining me here. If you're gonna do this with the stance that we're going to use later in class, we're just going to bring that bell straight down the leg. You could even rotate it in slightly if you're able to control your hip, like in that windmill. I'm not shooting my hip out to the side here. I want to think of hips going straight back as I do this. Another important thing here is to think of your shin staying in a parallel position. So what I mean by that, I don't want you coming back like this or bending your knee forward like this. So we're not squatting. You're thinking of your leg just staying in that position and then lifting your hip bones up, keeping this opposite leg light. You're here for 3, 2, and 1. Let's take an easy 20-second break here, and then we're gonna go into our second side. So we're already almost through one round of 3 of everything, so you can kind of feel out how everything is going to be when we actually get into our regular intervals. Let's get your second side in 3, 2, and 1. So I kind of like the good morning because I'm holding this stance here that I will be holding in the regular B stance, but I'm also just getting a little bit of a stretch for my hamstrings because I have this added weight behind me. So I'm really feeling this in my hamstrings as I work on my positioning here. So keeping my core secure. So remember, we're not letting ourselves overly arch like this or round our back here. We want to think of rib cage over pelvis, pulling the belly button up, breathing into the abs, and then sending the hips back. Or I should say breathing into your rib cage and then hardening the abs. It's almost like you're gonna take a punch. You're here for 3, 2, and 1. Let's take that easy 20-second rest. And then we're gonna come down to the floor for some alternating reaches for this round. Instead of the quadruped passes, which we'll do the second round, you can always come back to these reaches. I was just realizing this class could be a really nice variation of almost like a mobility class if you don't wanna use heavy weights today. Let's go ahead, come down. Quadruped position, so you're on your hands and knees. Let's push down our right hand, lift up our left, and then send the left arm through, touch your left ear to the floor, and then come up. We'll do the same thing for the right. So we're gonna reach our fingertips up, come through, ear to the floor, and then push down. You'll just keep repeating here. Bring it all the way through, getting some good rotation. You can even reach up again if that rotation feels really nice. It's feeling honestly really nice for me right now to do that. Really great movement to do if you have been sitting a lot. I can't keep the bangs under control, guys. I have little curtain bangs. Don't know that I'm gonna do that to myself again. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. So your first round of everything for real is about to get underway. So we're gonna start it in 30 seconds. I'm gonna give you a little extra time. Half kneeling windmill, standing windmill, weighted, unweighted, whatever you need here. I would definitely recommend the half kneeling if the standing windmill is not in your repertoire yet. This is not the place to learn the standing windmill today, but the building blocks are same as that half kneeling windmill we practiced. Standing windmill, let's go ahead, bring your bell up in 3, 2, and 1. Half kneeling windmill, you guys can do the same thing. So standing windmill, toes are either forward or 45 degrees away from the bell. So we're thinking of turning them both at the same time, then sending the hip back. If I'm using the same logic here that I did before with the wall, I'd be able to rotate and almost face my body to the wall in this standing windmill without my foot touching it. So you can see how my hip is just moving back. My back leg is locked out and tight. My front leg is super light. You wanna have a lot of lightness in that front foot, almost like you're not even stepping on it. You're here for 3, 2, and 1. This is your first 20-second break in our working sets, kind of our true sets here. You can roll your shoulders back. You can evaluate if that windmill was for you or not. We're gonna take your second side. Go moderately heavy on these. You never have to go really heavy on the windmill. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. You certainly don't have to go light for you, but what I would say is it's gonna get harder to come up. And a big part of this movement is working some mobility and flexibility here. So we're really working our hips along with our core, along with our obliques, side muscles on our abs here to lift ourselves up. You wanna make sure you're pushing through your bell side foot, even if that's on the floor, even if you're down here. As you rotate to come up, dig this foot down into the ground. That is your lever to help you lift the weight safely. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. My friends, you guys are crushing it. We're doing such a great job today. We're gonna go into our B stance deadlifts. You know your options now. You could have 2 bells on your side. You could have what's prescribed in the program, 1 bell, and then rotate it in towards your instep, controlling your hip, or just let it go straight down your shin. All of those variations will work today. Let's pick your bell up in 3, 2, and 1. So I'm gonna go here, bring my foot slightly out, and I like to put my hand on my tailbone just to make sure I really can feel that my hips are even. So even with that little bit of rotation, my hips are even here. If I was holding the bell right against my knee, I'm still concentrating Above anything else, I'm sending my hips back, putting my weight in my heel and pushing through my front foot to stand up. You have about 10 seconds on this side. I want you to work to keep your chin neutral here, not looking up or looking in a mirror. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Chin neutral always sounds like so weird sometimes. I feel like some of those cues you just say as an instructor or as a teacher, and people might be like, what does that actually mean? It just means you're not doing this with your head. Your head is neutral. Imagine you're staring straight ahead. You're not gonna move your head from that position no matter where your body is moving in space. Let's go ahead, pick up your bell for your opposite side. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. I also learned that not that often that I wear a matching outfit like a Pilates instructor in all pink. I did not mean that as a dig. I mean that as, it's like a kind of a cute pastel color, but I'm getting pretty dirty from my kettlebell. So I just noticed, I'm like, we might have a wardrobe malfunction and just a getting dirty malfunction. You're not rounding back here, right? We're not doing that. We also aren't reaching down to the floor with the bell. The catalyst for this should not be reaching down. It should be reaching back with your hips. You're here for 3, 2, and 1. Very good, my friends. We finished our 2 major sets here in this first real round, so completing round 2. Quadruped passes are next, and we are going to put our bell on one side, come to that quadruped, pull it across our bod with the opposite hand, and then keep doing that. I want you to pull it as far as you can in this 40-second interval. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. So if this is too much for you, you're like, that sounds great. I want you to practice tapping your hand to one side, tapping your hand to the other. So you're not actually moving the weight, but you're practicing controlling your body, holding yourself up there as you move here. So it's just a little reach through the tap as far as you can go, and then the other side. Your other alternative would just be to hold this quadruped position for 40 seconds and see if you can maintain keeping your knees off the floor as you breathe and keep your shoulders over your hips so your hips aren't dipping side to side. You've got 3, 2, and 1. I should say in the passes, it's totally fine for your hips to dip side to side a little bit if you're getting that big long reach, because I care more about all this rotation today. We're working out all those previous classes you've done in this program that are pretty forward and back facing. We're getting that side to side lateral movement a lot through our core this time. Let's go ahead and get your windmills. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. So here is your windmill half kneeling. Notice nothing changes here. I'm still looking up at my bell, pushing through that front foot to come up, maintaining my arm position, which again, I find to be the hardest part. The first thing I want to do here sometimes is lose that shoulder as I'm rotating up, which can be quite precarious when you have a big weight over your head. You don't want your arm bobbing all over the place. The part of that with the arm being stable is the same as your Turkish get-up if you know how to do those. You've got 3, 2, and 1. We're gonna go to your opposite side. If you're like me and you really like both versions of the windmill, sometimes I find that the half kneeling windmill is a little harder in some ways. You can actually go between them. Pick one round, pick one the other, kind of like I do here when I'm demoing. Let's go 3, 2, and 1, opposite side. Making that full contact with the ground. Still making contact with the bell with my eyes as I come up. You might be thinking, is this really a strength move? This is a little more of a core strength, shoulder stability, and then hip flexibility movement than like a brute strength movement. So if you feel like, oh, I feel like this is kind of restful, I feel like I'm in a mobility class, you are getting some strength work here, just a little bit different. You've got 3, 2, and 1. I thought for the last session of the week, this program would be a good one because not only are we getting our hamstring and glute work and our hip work, we're getting that core rotation. So it's just gonna feel nice and not too much, especially after that wild snatch and single arm swing session. Okay, let's go ahead, get your B stance deadlifts on your first side. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. So holding the bell opposite. So what this does, holding it opposite, is it helps you find internal hip rotation. So I could hold it here, same idea, but when I'm holding it here, I have to close this hip off, which is sometimes a common issue in this movement for people is keeping that hip kind of coming in and your weight coming to the midline. Again, we don't want to start drifting on this side, so we're not doing hip out. And that's part of the reason why I also combined these with those windmills. And it's part of the reason why these come after the windmills. You've got 3, 2, and 1, because we just spent almost like literally like a little over a minute and a half trapping that hip in the windmill. And we want to do the same thing when we're in these deadlifts. Okay, roll your shoulders back. Let's go ahead and hit your opposite side here. Pick your bell up in 3, 2, and 1. Maybe I should wear pastel matching sets more often. It's like kind of my style, but not totally my style, if you catch my drift. But I just thought this color was so pretty. Truthfully, like, wear whatever you want to the gym. I've been in a sweatpant phase. I've been in like a baggy t-shirt phase. And I've been in like kind of a low support. I mean, I can do that obviously, but a low support phase where I don't want to feel like I'm strapped in so tight when I'm weight training specifically. I'm not jumping or doing anything where I might need some more. So if that's you, go with it. You've got 3, 2, and 1. I also saw this video on social media the other day of this woman that was saying, like, what's she talking about? She was in a weight loss phase of her life, and she's like, I don't feel comfortable wearing tight spandex at the gym and revealing my body. Let's get your quadruped passes. But she's like, I love it when other women do that because it motivates me, and I feel like it's just one version of confidence. And she just thought it's so empowering no matter what you want to wear. And I feel that way as well. I feel like you can be in the baggiest sweatpants, still feel confident, or, you know, be in a workout set. All the dudes that are taking this class right now are like, I don't know if you can relate to this. Leave me a comment if you can. You've got less than 5 seconds here. We have one more round of, everything to go. Let's go 3, 2, and 1. I mean, I guess it's like equivalent of maybe wearing no shirt or something, or like arm revealing stuff. Our bodies are so, all of us with our, you know, what we're comfortable with our bodies, it's so unique. In the gym, honestly, it's so awkward, right? We're like lifting weights. We've got 3, 2, and 1, putting our bodies in all these different positions. We are wearing tight clothes when we're doing it. We're in there sweating and grunting with other people. I mean, I think that's something that spoiled me with a home gym too, because I just feel like training at home, and this is something kettlebells obviously afford, you can just kind of like relax and go into your zone. And at this point in my life, I love solo training sessions. I love to train on my own and have that bit of me time. It feels like deliciously selfish sometimes. It's like you're not in a class. I mean, you're in a class, but in this, you're not in a class with other people. You don't necessarily have to go anywhere. Make sure you're resting here. I don't even know if I told you guys to rest because I started rambling. I do have to say, nothing weird has happened yet this class. I probably shouldn't have said that. You guys have 5 seconds. We're gonna go into your opposite side. Let's see. Maybe my bangs falling out is the weird thing. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. Snatch is such a great transition tool as well. So once you learn how to kettlebell snatch, it's a really efficient way to get a bell over your head or get a weight over your head without having to waste energy doing it, because you're not having to strict press it. It's a little faster than a push press. You get to use a little more momentum. So highly recommend. I mean, I don't honestly do crazy snatch workouts myself anymore. I'm not like busting out snatches every workout, but am I glad I know how to snatch? 100%. So efficient for some cardio plus these transitions. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Very good. I spoke too soon. I feel like we just time it perfectly with the helicopters. I didn't catch it on screen this time because we're facing the other way today, as you guys can tell. Okay, B stance deadlifts. First side, last round. Let's get it, my friends. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. You might be asking the difference or wondering the difference between a B stance and a stagger, because we use both. B stance is technically bringing that foot in a little bit closer. So it's really kind of snuggled up close to your heel. It's a very short stance. Stagger, you might come out a little bit more. You might use that back foot a little bit more. The back foot really is truly an accessory in our set today. Other option is to have your hand down like this. You could even hold your bell with your other hand if you so choose to do that. Sometimes that can help with stability. You've got 3, 2, and 1. We are so close to being finished with this class today. You only have 2 more intervals of 40 seconds. That means you have 2 more minutes of work. A nice kiss of strength is how I like to think of this program. Again, very different than your last program. Enjoy it. Let's go 3, 2, and 1. Sometimes I think these slower strength classes are some of the harder ones because it really forces you to slow down and focus on your technique. Where is your weight in your foot? Are you crunching your toes into the ground? Can you actually lift them up, spread them out, and then put more of the weight into the ball of your foot? Are you tensing up in your shoulders? Do you feel like you don't have a strong connection to that shoulder pack here? Imagine your hand is in your armpit and you're squeezing it tight to your body as you hold that weight. You've got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Very good, my friends. We are almost done. Let's go ahead and get these last quadruped passes and your 20-minute set will be complete. What a time, right? What a time to be alive. Breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth. Just let your shoulders fall and relax. Let's move that bell in 3, 2, and 1. I'm trying to think of that big reach. So this is what I mean. You don't have to in this one today worry too much about your hips staying like, you don't want to move the bell 2 inches is what I'm trying to say. So really let your hips move a little bit side to side, totally fine. Try to move your weight forward into your hands a little bit more. You guys have less than 10 seconds. So see if we can keep ourselves from being here, right over the weight, even if you're doing those taps. See if you can keep your weight in your palms. You've got 3, 2, and 1. Whew, we did it. We got through that set today. I hope you guys are feeling good after your technically first week. If you've completed all 5 of these classes, this is class number 5 in this program. And you can definitely do other types of movement on your own. Highly recommend if you're getting back into a fitness habit, adding walking as a bare minimum thing. See if you can get 10 to 15K steps a day. I know those are arbitrary numbers, but see if you can up your movement on those other days. Doesn't mean they need to be fully rest days. They can be active rest days. And I hope you really enjoyed this first week. I'll see you guys in week 2 very soon. Remember to get real, get strong, and get your bells up. Bye.